terrifying end of those who dared to desecrate the tomb of King Quang Trung. Greetings, dear viewers, and welcome back to the latest episode of Top Secret. Dear audience, there's no need to spend ink summarizing the illustrious military achievements of King Quang Trung, but where exactly is the tomb of King Quang Trung, and has it ever been violated? For nearly 30 years, researcher Nguyen Dak Son has dedicated time to studying the history of the Tay Son dynasty and the burial place of King Quang Trung, amassing a treasure trove of materials from both domestic and international sources. In 1786, Nguyen Hu led his troops from Vinh Dinh to attack the Trinh lords in Phu Son, present-day Hu. At that time, the capital was in Phu Son, located near the Quang Trung Gate, close to today. In fact, in the 12th month, Nguyen Hu did not enter the capital city of Phu Son before heading north to eliminate the Trinh because the capital's weakness, being sandwiched between the Perfume River and Ken Long River, made it vulnerable to enemy. Additionally, the Tay Son army included many elephants, horses, and highland troops, so Nguyen Hu utilized a pre-existing military situated on a high hill, allowing observation of activities in the capital city across the river. After continuing his march north in 1786, upon returning to Phu Son and ascending the throne as emperor, with the reign name Quang Trung in 1788, Nguyen Hu still did not reside in the capital but ordered the construction of palaces and citadels because he had previously decided to move the capital to Etienne to Phuong Hoang Trung due to further consolidate his analysis. Researcher Nguyen Dak Son cites a letter written by missionary Le Bartet on July 23, 1788, which states, "Since the new king, Nguyen Hu, returned to Phu Son, he has been busy with defense, constructing a wall 6.48 meters high around his residence. It seems he was in a great hurry, forcing everyone to work day and night without rest." Le Kai Ki Su. Nguyen Hu, victorious in battle, returned to Vinh Dinh in Phu Son, reinforcing the citadel and the draft of A Journey to Nam Ha from 1792 to 1793 by Macartney. The British ambassador to China notes that Nguyen Hu had hardly set foot in his capital, Hu, before he had the opportunity to confront the king of Bac Ha. On September 16, 1792, King Quang Trung passed away at the age of 39, before realizing he would not recover. The king summoned two important ministers, Tran Quang Ju and Tran Phan Ky, to his bedside, instructing that his burial must be and completed within a month, while quickly escorting the crown prince back to Phuong Hoang Trung in Negi and to control the realm. Otherwise, when the Jia Din troops arrive, those people will have nowhere to hide. At death, Crown Prince Quang Trung ascended the throne, taking the reign name Gun Tin and the king. From the north were the Qin forces, from the south the Jia Din troops, and nearby Christian missionaries were scheming to seize power from Nguyen Nhac and even Nguyen An. According to researcher Nguyen Dak Son's death was kept absolutely secret, even from court officials. Even Le Sun Phu Tu Nguyen Thiep did not know of the king's death, and upon learning, he could not enter due to heavily guarded roads. As for the Christian missionaries, though nearby, King Quang was only recorded by them earliest. At the end of December 1792, in a letter by Bishop Longer, who oversaw the Northwest Ha region, but it was still not confirmed. As Mr. Zahn cited sources indicate, to deal with the chain after ascending the throne, Crown Prince Quang Trung sent Go Tin Nong to lead a diplomatic mission to China to report a warning and request investiture for the new king. To conceal their coping actions, the mission reported that King Quang Trung had died in the 9th lunar month, 2 months later than his actual death, and was mourned at the Hanoi Spirit Hall. To maintain absolute secrecy, the only way was to mourn the king right at the palace. Thus the palace became the king's tomb. Cam Hoai. Dan Duan Palace is the mausoleum courtyard preserving the precious robes of our late emperor. Thus, King Quang Trun's palace was Dan Duan. After his death, he was mourned here to keep it secret, and it became Dan Lang. His burial place could not escape the notice of Mrs. Nak Tuyen, Nguyen An. Coupled with intense internal conflicts within the court during King Gun Tim's reign, the data and arguments of Mr. Nguyen Dak Song are considered rich and quite logical. Nevertheless, as research still presents other hypotheses that are no less convincing. Nearly 10 years after his death, the Nguyen dynasty had his tomb dug up for revenge. When still in high school, students learn about this brutal revenge because it is clearly recorded in the Nguyen dynasty's National History Bureau. In the 11th month of the Gunmen year, December 1801, they destroyed the tombs of Pei Sun Nguyen Hu, Bo Jiang, Bui They, and displayed the heads of sons, daughters, relatives, and generals. 31 people in total were all subjected to lynching, slow slicing, on the Tashu day of the 11th month in the Red Shu year, i.e., December 6, 1802. Zhao Long held a ceremony to present the captured territory and offer prisoners. The two sets of remains of Nguyen Van Nhac and Nguyen Van Hu were crushed and discarded. Only the skulls of Nguyen Hu and Nguyen Nhac were imprisoned in the outer prison. Thus, according to historical records, the bodies of Nguyen Hu, Nguyen Nhac, and King Quang Trung, only 3 skulls were placed in boxes, tightly sealed, locked with iron chains. Along with cells to imprison them forever in the outer prison, later changed to an arsenal. Each month, someone would come to inspect them. It wasn't until 1885, when the French attacked the Hu imperial city, that King Han Yi had to flee. During the chaos, those 3 boxes were taken away by someone and lost. Many researchers and historians do not believe this story. The execution of King Quang Trung along with his family and generals Tran Quang Ju and Bo Gadong, as well as the exhumation and desecration of the remains, are true, as they occurred in the presence of many witnesses. Among them were French missionaries, who later recorded these events in books about Annam. However, it is believed that the remains of King Quang Trung that were exhumed were from a fake tomb, not the real one. King Quang Trung was someone who placed great importance on graves and tombs. According to the Dai Nam of Luke, after many attempts to lead troops south but still failing to eliminate Nguyen An, people said it was because the tombs of the Nguyen dynasty's ancestors had good feng shui, and their imperial destiny was still strong. King Quang Trung then ordered the excavation of all 8 tombs of the Nguyen dynasty. From Lord Nguyen Huang to Vovong Nguyen Phuc Hoc, and threw them into the abyss. Plus the 2 ancestral tombs of Nguyen An, Nguyen Phuc Luan, were also thrown. This is why later, after ascending the throne, Nguyen An ordered the exhumation of the Tay Sun tombs for revenge and declared during this, delayed in heating heavens will avenge 9 generations. If what is recorded in the Dai Nam Thuc Luke is true, S ordered to excavate the tombs of Nguyen An. He must have known that his enemies would later exhume his tomb for revenge. Both belonged to the Tay Sun dynasty's imperial destiny, so the tomb had to be located on good land with dragon veins, and also hidden, not revealed to enemies. King Quang Trung himself was clever and strategic, often using deceptive tactics to mislead enemies. Many strategies can be seen in his military and diplomatic tactics, such as Nguyen Hu and Nguyen Nhac using the fake surrender, locking Nguyen Nhac in a cage, escorting him to Hainan Citadel, and forcing the commander to surrender. The city guard believed it and let them in. At midnight, soldiers opened the cage and released, attacking from inside and outside to capture the citadel. To capture Fuzan Citadel, he had skilled deputies disguised as fortune tellers to infiltrate, breaking the gates at midnight and capturing Fuzan Citadel in just while the Trin lords fought the Nguyen lords for nearly 100 years without success. When invited by Emperor Qianlong to celebrate his birthday, King Quang Trung sent a nephew, Fan Kong Tri, to impersonate him and attend the court, causing the Qing dynasty to spend a lot of money and effort on the reception. A person with such strategies has no reason to let enemies easily find his tomb. Ancient kings often had fake tombs to deceive enemies or thieves, like Cao Cao, who built up his 72 fake tombs, let alone King Quang Trung, who had many enemies at the time. Right after the king's death, the Tay Sun dynasty built the first fake tomb at Linville, now part of the Lindan Peninsula. Contritus. Many documents say that after Quang Trung's death, July 1792, in a recorded, Quang Trung sent an envoy to the Qing dynasty with a fake memorial, saying the king's tomb was buried at Lin, to express loyalty to the Qing dynasty. Emperor Qianlong believed it and bestowed upon him the posthumous name. He personally composed a poem of mourning and offered a statue, along with 300 taels of silver to cover. All Qing dynasty court officials were ordered to hold a memorial ceremony. The Qing envoy, Tan Lam, went to the tomb at Linduang to read the eulogy and present more. Feudal-era historians also share the same assessment, that the tomb in Linduang village was merely a fake tomb set up by the Taisun court officials to deceive the Qing emperor, while the real tomb of Quang Trung is located elsewhere. Excavation results also revealed that the person buried in the stone tomb at Linduang was a woman, so it could not possibly be Emperor Quang Trung. But could this indeed be the tomb chosen as the fake tomb of Quang Trung for the Qing envoy delegation to visit? The irony of history lies in this: the history that is written is always shorter than what humans have created. Therefore, archaeological materials, reference documents, and investigations of existing will be necessary to reconstruct history truthfully. On the path to uncovering historical truth, scientific hypotheses are inevitably needed for history itself to verify. D. Quang shared, with the impartiality of a scientific researcher and a heart burdened by historical questions, Dr. Quang provided interpretations regarding the Linduang stone tomb. According to him, perhaps the passing of Mrs. Wadong occurred slightly earlier than the death of Emperor Quang Trung. So when announcing the funeral to the Qing court, someone schemed to suggest that Emperor Quang would immediately select her tomb as the place for the Qing envoy delegation to visit. The person who devised this scheme was most likely Go Tinong, as he was from Papan Oi, the same district as the deceased, and thus knew this area better than anyone. The burial of a reigning emperor must certainly differ from that of a royal consort. Therefore, while awaiting the Qing envoy delegation's visit, the Taisun court had to renovate this tomb. First, they erected a stone tomb structure suitable for the scale of an emperor's tomb. Then they broke the salt-cured stone coffin lid of the lady's tomb and plastered a new layer over it. This plaster was made from a new compound. They may also have destroyed all inscriptions on the steel and other materials related to the identity of that royal consort. This is precisely why there is a mismatch between the stone tomb and the coffin, from the lid to the coffin basin, Dr. Quang analyzed. During interviews with elders in Linduang, many were provided with another interesting piece of information. That is the ancestral temple of the Nguyen lineage in Linduang. The fifth-generation ancestor of Mrs. Wadong is clearly recorded in this house. This temple was built by Lord Tren Sam in 1775 to worship maternal ancestors. In 1792, Emperor Quang Trung passed away. S coffin in state to receive the Manchu Qing envoys. Only the rear palace remains as seen today. This further confirms that the Nguyen lineage in Linduang is certainly related to the death and fate tomb of Emperor Quang Trung as recorded in historical texts. While archaeologists strive to decode the mystery of the Linduang mummy, Tanchuan district police detectives also work hard to capture the mastermind behind the tomb robbery gang. There was a time when the case seemed to have reached a dead end, but in early 1990, the police received news. Haiheng Old Provincial Police had arrested a tomb robbery group originating from Tanchuan. Through the confessions of the criminals, security investigators learned that the mastermind of the Linduang stone tomb robbery was named Kai. From Guangting District, married in Tanchuan and Lydia his wife's home. At the investigation agency, Kai confessed that this tomb was discovered by a person named An. Kai and An came here to survey multiple times and arrived at the following judgment. This is a tomb without a name, so it could only be one of these possibilities. Either a tomb hiding treasures, or the tomb of an emperor who feared it would be dug up during a dynastic change. If not, it could also be the tomb of an official who committed many cruel deeds and thus dared not inscribe it. Based on these possibilities, it concluded that the tomb must contain treasures. Still according to Kai's confession, because the stone tomb was built as a very solid structure with large stones tightly fitted together. On the first night, they failed to dig through the northern gate and had to abandon the attempt. Kai discovered the tomb's southern gate, but this side of the tomb was also very sturdy. Bonnie calculated, and they decided it was best to use explosive packs to blow open the tomb gate. The explosive packs would be detonated at midnight, when a train passed by, so the train noise would muffle the explosion. As planned, the explosive pack weighing about half a kilogram shattered the tomb gate. After the smoke cleared, they rushed in to dig, but faced with the hard mixture and the approaching dawn, they had to give up. That was the night of November 25, 1989, when the Kai brothers entered to dig the tomb. and the woman standing guard outside was captured by the police force. Upon hearing gunshots, the Kai brothers quickly fled. According to their confession, they had not taken anything from his tomb. The intruders who violated the resting place of ancestors of the ancient Lin Duan tomb ultimately faced severe legal punishment. After the excavation, Mrs. Huang's remains were returned to their original place so the ancient one could continue her eternal. However, to this day, there has been no official announcement regarding her identity. In front of the tomb, the locals reverently built a small shrine with a carefully secured iron door. People visiting the tomb often sought to burn incense for her, but so far, they simply refer to it as the stone tomb or the tomb of the lady. With no clan stepping forward to acknowledge and oversee it, said Mr. Nguyen Lin Duong, the clan head. As for the tomb in Fuzhou, Dai Nam Liat Choyan briefly records that King Quang Trun's tomb is south of the Perfume River. This is precisely where the Nguyen dynasty's troops dug up the tomb for revenge. Typically, when a king passes away, the tomb is buried in the capital, but this could also be a false tomb. The book Paid Wang Puat Luo writes that Nguyen Hu often feared Nguyen On's revenge, so in times of crisis, Nguyen Hu told his servants that he would restore the country, and a courtier said that if he emerged, they would fight. Do not think my words are old. If I die today, he will emerge tomorrow. If I die tomorrow, he will emerge the day after. You who are alive will see. Could a person like King Quang Trung leave his tomb openly in Fuzhou, allowing enemies to dig it up later? A notable detail is that right after King Quang Trung's death, the Taisun court kept his death secret. Internal exit, external entry. And envoys sent to China to report the news and seek investiture. Thus, the date of death was reported 2 months. This delay might be due to the following reasons. King Quang Trung's sudden death could have prompted enemies to consider launching an attack, so the ministers had to discuss response plans and prepare military forces. Typically, when a king dies, he is buried in a pre-built mausoleum. In cases of sudden death at a young age, with no pre-built tomb, he is temporarily buried in a location, and a tomb is chosen later. These 2 months might have been used to hastily in a secret location and move King Quang Trung's remains there. After burial was complete, mourning was then announced. If following the second hypothesis, King Quang Trung's real tomb must be quite far from Fuzhou, and the tomb in Fuzhou is only a decoy to mislead enemies. The person lying in the tomb in Fuzhou might be Fan Kong Kai, who impersonated King Quang Trung on a visit to the Qing dynasty 2 years earlier. Fan Kong Kai enjoyed royal benefits and had to accompany the king to continue impersonating King Quang Trung after departing this world. Life can be harsh, serving the needs of ancient royalty, resting beneath gold without fear of their bodies being destroyed by later generations. So, if King Quang Trung is not buried in Fuzhou, where is the king's real tomb? This question still lacks a definitive answer.